We go. I do believe we're live. So I'll say indeed and greetings unto you. Thank you for joining me again today on another conscious evolution. I didn't set my title properly, did I? No, I don't think I did. I was still thinking about how I was supposed to verbiage it, and then I uploaded a thumbnail, and I instantly realized that I didn't type the title. The title is Wanting Needs, Needing Wants. We're discussing wanting of needs and needing of wants. All right? Really kind of discussing this inner thing, this inner balance that needs to be reached between what it is you need and what it is you want. I want certain things. However, it becomes clear to me that I might not, at least at the very short term, get those things. And I believe I need certain things. And I do believe that if I can want less, or at the very least, not be as critical with what it is I'm wanting, not be obnoxious about it at the very least, my needs will get met. I believe this. Moon Knight, needs led to innovation. That's true. What's that thing? Necessity. Necessity is the mother of all invention, right? A necessity is something that you need to do. It needs be done, right? Necessarily. I'm not necessarily talking about that today as much. I could be. We could discuss that too. I am very much talking about the personal wants, right? Especially as it relates to the way you are received, the way the world adjusts. Right? Like I'm thinking about it from a perspective of like wants is being wants is being loved in a certain way. Needs is being loved at all. Right? I don't know if I got some fucking sunscreen in my eyeballs. I hope not. I'm sorry for the profanity. One idiot is one idiot. Two idiots is two idiots. 10,000 idiots are a political party. Oh, Kafka. Hi, Melt. Hi, Moon. Hey, Sandra. It's nice having you, friend. Sending you big old blessings. We find ourselves present again today discussing this balance that is met between needs and wants. What is it that you want and what is it that you need? Is it more important for you to understand your wants or is it more important for you to understand your needs? Is it more important for you to get your needs than it is for you to have your wants? I believe so. My personal bias. There are some things that I need to do. I need to do certain things in this world. All right? I want certain things from the world. However, me not getting those things that I want is inconsequential to what I need to do. Right? You're like, what does that mean, Mel? I can get nothing that I want and I'll still do what I need to do. That's what it means. Right? Some things need to be done the right way. And that's, I feel like, where my personal issue kind of like comes in as well, is because who's to say what the right way is? What I do know is that I am very willing to try. I'll try. I'll try my hardest. I think the part of me that really is insecure, is it insecure? Scared. Yeah, maybe a bit of both. Is that I'll try as hard as I tried and it will still not be enough. Right? And maybe it will be enough. Maybe it will be enough for how long it needs to be enough for. But then the problem comes with it not being enough at some point. And then almost that one point defining the entire of you have trying to have been enough. You know what I mean? No? Maybe I don't either. No, I do. I do know what I mean. It's very much so like trying, believing in something, right? Believing in the purity of something, in the possibility of something, in the hope that something holds, right? That's something that I want. I so desperately want things to be hopeful. However, I need to continue. I need to keep making stuff. I need to show up. Show up. Despite the fact that the things I want is not always met. Right. And I don't know if that's what growing up is. Is this what growing up feels like? Somebody stop! Somebody stop, please. No, actually, I don't know what you meant because you did not set the topic. Yeah, I did. I did apologize for that right off the bat, Sam. I'm sorry. Uh, seems like you need a title, or do you want one? Hmm? Clearly, you're here, so titles are not necessary. But wants, those sneaky little thingies, they really do sneak up on you. You can be convinced. You can be convinced of wanting stuff. I think that's the part that I'm struggling with a little bit as well. It's like how much of the stuff that I want, how much of the stuff that I can't get, that I lament not getting, have I been convinced to want against my own will? Some of it, at the very least, right? Some of it. How are you doing today? Asking them questions. Some people think their wants are something they need. Isn't that interesting, Nancy? My wants are something I need. Hey, Kobe, can you stop? Stop that. Stop that, please. You know, this dude is like full of dust. He's been chasing the chasing the cows. I'm trying to blow the dust off you. How are you that dusty? Let me see if I can like, flick some of that dust so your friends can see on camera. He's been chasing cows, and then the cows kick up dust, and then he's like right behind them. Dude is soaked in the stuff. Don't even think about it. I can see him thinking about sitting on my lap, and no sitting here today. No. All right, comments are back open again. Moon Knight said, Melt, until now, from our conversation, what do you think me? What do you think about me and how I am? I think you're a young person that finds themselves in challenging circumstances, that is grasping with the reality of the situation. The situation being, where it is you live, the situation being your family, your situation being the things that you study or don't study, the situation being the exact country you find yourself in, the situation being our current financial predicament, looking at the world events unfolding as they are, and all of the uncertainty that comes alongside it. I see you not always being hopeful, but I understand. I understand. It's not always easy to stay hopeful in these circumstances. However, you keep showing up, and I find that admirable. Hope that is a satisfactory answer, dear Moon Knight. Well, if you don't tell me what the topic is wants and needs. I was telling you the topic in me addressing the not having of topic, wants and needs. We're talking about wants and needs. What do you want versus what do you need? Can you acknowledge, and this is what I'm trying to acknowledge in myself, can you acknowledge that in suspending your wants, you might end up getting what you need, right? And vice versa as well. If you are absolutely staunch, right, hard-headed, willing to die on the heel of your wants, you might end up having significantly less of your needs met at the end of your life, right? And this is my own bias, so I'm trying to like be careful, if you will. Oh, be careful. I'm trying to want less as an ego, trying to be a little bit more selfless. I'm getting better at it, I think. I think I'm getting better at it. I'm trying. Moon, I'm well. Bless. Well, if you don't tell me what the topic is, I'm going to hijack the comment section with dumb shit like, why don't we do Jello combat? Jello combat? We used to do Jello combat? Because it's wasteful. Jello is usually made out of some sort of biomass, all right? If not the biomass of seaweed, and maybe the biomass of cow bones. So maybe for that reason alone. Melt fake pulling out something from Kobe like you did yesterday. Pretend like I'm picking something off of him. I'll be like, what's this? What's this? Oh, I got something. Oh, I got it. I got that thing off of you. He's not convinced though. Oh, I just got something. I had to make the sound. The sound is to get sold. Yeah, there you go. Yo, Joy Services, welcome. We are here, also providing Joy Services. We're in South Africa right now. Very nice having you. Sending you blessings, dear friend. How are you doing? How's life been treating you? Today we're having this conversation about wants and needs. And the lesson that I'm trying to absorb is that more of my needs might end up getting met if I can want for less. And it doesn't mean not wanting anything. It just means not wanting some things. Right? And it's an interesting dichotomy that I'm trying to find balance within. I'm new here, so anything I know. It's true. Welcome, Joy Services. I do one of these streams every day. And you're like, every day? Really? Yes. Yep. We've been going every day for 1,694 days. It'll be nice to see you here again, Joy Services. We have conversations in this space, and we do them, have them, with the intent of consciously evolving. Realizing that all of the evolution that's already happened to us is done, right? I'm not going to grow extra fingers unless I attach them to myself with robotics anytime soon, right? So most of the evolution is going to have to happen here, consciously with me. And that's what we choose to do here in this space together. It's nice. A great prophet once said, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need. Yes, I find that too. I don't know if I heard any great prophet say it, but that great prophet clearly knew what he was talking about. Seems that way. There's Xiao. Hey, Xiao. We love you. It's nice having you. Lurky love your bunches. You beautiful you. Don't think I'm missing any comments. No. No, it would seem not. How can I steer my mind where I want? Does my mind need something other than its basic necessities? I'm having this whole thing in my head, thinking about if more of your needs are met, your wants suddenly become more important. Is that true? Feels like it has some wisdom behind it. Why is that true? Because when you have all of your needs met, you start to look elsewhere, right? Why is that? I wonder. Let's see if we can ask some advice. Good energy, bro. Oh, that's nice. I like hearing stuff like that. A stranger on the internet witnesses me, makes a judgment after a minute or two. Is like, yeah, this is good stuff. Thanks. That's nice. I'm curious. I'm having this discussion with some of my friends, and I'm wondering about this ratio slash relationship between needs and wants. Specifically, I just came to this almost like intuitive connection, conclusion inside myself that when most of your needs are met, your wants seem to become more important to you experientially. Maybe this is my own bias. Maybe it's not that way for everybody. But why is it that that ends up happening? I have some sort of suspicion that you end up looking for the things that you don't want or that you don't have, right? When you have almost everything else, right? Then it's like this one thing that I don't have that I think I need or whatever. And then I have also this almost like wisdom that I'm trying to establish slash come to in myself about how if I can suspend some of the needs I have, I might actually end up no. If I can suspend some of the wants I have of the world, I can end up having more of my needs met, in the grand scheme of things. Help us explore this topic a little bit more in depth. Human nature is greedy. What do you think about it? I don't think it's untrue that human nature is greedy, but I also don't think it's the only truth, right? I think it's a balancing act. I think the environment influences us a lot, right? If we had infinite abundance, if we were living in the equivalent of the Garden of Eden, right, and there was just an abundance of food around us all the time, where we can just eat off the trees when we hungered, right? I don't think human greed would play that bigger role in life, right? Maybe it would at first. Maybe if people were just introduced into that environment, the human greed would have them eating as much fruit as they can. But after a week, after a month, after a year of having all of your needs met all the time, will greed remain? I don't know. It is this weird dichotomy because if you think about those who are the most greedy amongst us, it is the ultra wealthy class, right? The people that have billions of dollars. And what is it about having billions? Because again, if you have billions, if you have $1 million, all of your needs are met, right? So having your needs met 1,000 times over doesn't meet your needs harder. So like going from 1 billion to 2 billion seems pretty greedy, right? And what is it about that as well that kind of like incentivizes that? I think at that point, you don't become greedy for money, you become greedy for status, right? It's like it's another metric for you to compare yourself against others with, of like, yeah, I'm so valuable that I am worth $1 billion. That's how valuable I am. And I would love to, me as Melt, be worth $1 billion one day. Absolutely, right? Admittedly, to TBH, I would love that. However, if I have to get there by stealing, right, by taking from people that have, you know, needs, that's the thing, right? I want that, but it's not something I need, right? And again, there's this part of me that believes that if I had these wants met, then I could do more of the things that I think I need to do. And then we churn. We try and find balance within ourselves. Mm, I think people need food, housing, healthcare, and the time to have fun and be reflective. Exactly. Right? And we can provide all of those things to everybody already, Nanshi. That's the best part. Maybe not the healthcare. Healthcare is still a little bit hard. We're still going to have to robots that world a little bit more before we can really give everybody free healthcare. But the rest of it, housing, it's already enough houses, I think, relatively speaking. There's not enough houses in all of the places that people want to live, right? But houses in general, I think there's already enough, technically, right? Especially if you have to consider China's real estate bubble. Holy shit, there's a lot of just box that people can be put in, right? Again, if that's the bare minimum that we can kind of like reach, get to people, it's like, okay, yo, you can get a box to sleep in. We can manage that, right? We already have that. I think we already have the food situation figured out for the most part. Uh, the free time. I think the free time as well. I think like there's a lot of people that probably are unwilling to admit this, but most of human productivity has already been automated, technically. Most of it. There's still a lot happening, but I think it's already like the majority of labor is automated already. And that's only going to increase exponentially. And then it's as you said, Nancy, we're gonna have to start considering other ways of being. I don't know which great prophet said that. That would be Mick Jagger of Rolling Stone, the Mick Jagger himself. Good old Maslow's, yeah, hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there he goes, says roughly that we have to get the needs taken care of before we can even start thinking about frivolous shit like wants. Yes, exactly. Nah, human nature is greedy, can be. Greed is what makes you work your ass off. I don't know if that's true. I don't work my ass off because I have greed in my soul. I work my ass off because I have want in my soul, right? I have this need for greatness, right? I wanted to say want for greatness, but I don't want greatness. I need greatness, right? It's this weird, almost like pegging, not that kind of peg, the kind of like attaching something to something else. Yeah. Fuck. Uh, Attaching my self worth to my own ability to create worth, right? It's like attaching my ability to feel self love to the amount of love that I get from the world outside as well, right? And it's not a greed thing to me because again, if greed was the only motivator, then I'm in the wrong profession, right? There's a way more monies for me to make in other ways. I could be so skeevy, all right? Really churn that greed out, make monies. But I wouldn't exactly find myself feeling valuable, right? In fact, if I made my money like scamming people or the equivalent thereof in one way or another, right? I don't think I'd be satisfied with my existence, right? And that's also something that I need. I need to be satisfied with my existence at the end of my life. Otherwise, all right, what was all of the want for? What is it you want? A part of me wants to see if we're going to. I said the same thing that Nancy said a little bit. Having lived on a bagel a day before, I can say it's absolutely true. Once basic needs are met, then you start thinking about what you want and how to go about getting it. It's true, right? It's interesting that it works that way. Individuals often struggle to distinguish between necessities and desires. Also very true. Love you all, John Nicholas. That's nice. Love to you too. Necessities led to innovation, and innovation led to desire to have more of what we have right now. Does the hippie in the middle box look like a clock? Yeah, like we live in the future where any information you can desire can be extracted, right? Especially if it's factual information like what is time in place. Then you can just go, hey, Google, what is time in place? And then Google tells what time in place is. However, me, as Sam affectionately has dubbed me, the hippie, will be able to give
Time
you.
and place.
No, I
is
didn't
an album
ask.
by
I
Mike.
didn't. I didn't ask you. I didn't ask for any of that, did I? But you can, if you wanted to, ask me a question. You can ask me questions about the self, about what I think about things, about how I interpret whatever. But asking me questions that you can easily find for yourself, right, would be what's the word I'm looking for? An injustice. Yes. I would be injusticing, taking from you all of that autonomy of finding things out for yourself. You know what I mean? I've been holding onto this DNA Vapors. This little shiny. Little green gold. I've never seen a metal that looks like this, to be honest. I don't know how they did it. How do they do that? How is it green and gold and shades of blue and shades of purple? I don't understand Moon Knight. Hey, there Zhao is. We think of triggers as things that tick us off, usually tied to aversion, but we rarely see our wants in the same light. A want is an attachment. An attachment can be just as much of a trigger. You're right, Joe. It's so beautiful that you say that with such like deep wisdom. That's the thing that I've been kind of like working through today. Is like my own attachments because of those wants, as you said, like you want something and then you become attached to that one, and then upon not receiving that thing that you want, you right suffer that that thing you were attached to, that you get triggered, as Joe said. You get triggered by it not being the way you wanted it to be. Peace grows when you notice both without chasing or resisting. I feel like that's the part that I'm kind of trying to be extra mindful of as well, Joe, is that there's a part of me that can want for nothing, right? The same part of me that was depressed as a teenager, the part of me that believed that nothing meant anything, right? Nothing matters, I used to say as a young man. Nothing matters. So, and that nothing matters version of me also didn't want for much, interestingly enough. Right? Because if nothing matters, why would I want for anything? What would something be able to give me that I don't want? Right? If I want to die, that was like my current state of life, then you don't want for much else, which is also interesting. However, I don't think, and I know this in myself as well, that that is the right answer to the fullness that we're in right now. Like that isn't indicative of the true wants of the universe, right? Because if you could consider all the wants, not just your own, right, you'll realize that the attachment grows in a way too, show, right? Attraction, attachment slash aversion, attraction slash aversion. Yeah, it's a big factor in our lives, what we are attracted to and what we are averse to. You know, and again, I said it a little bit earlier, I wonder how much of it is programmed. How much of what I want have I been convinced of? How much of what I want are beyond my needs? Maybe if we could like have some sort of ratio, right? Seeing in a little data driven, you have 90% of your needs met and you have 10% of your wants pursued or whatever, you know, I don't know. I'm gonna read this little bitty, see if we can extract some wisdom from it. It gave me a lot of text, which I don't know if I like, but I'll absorb. It goes, why wants become sharper when needs are met? When most of our baseline needs, as Nancy said, are met, food, shelter, safety, and belonging, the spaces the space of attention shifts upward. There's Sam's wisdom as well of the hierarchy of needs. This is very much, there literally, it stands there, holy shit. This is very much in line with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's the, I love that. Once philosophical and safety needs are secured, once philosophical and safety needs are secured, our awareness gravitates towards desires for esteem, self actualization, novelty, pleasure, and meaning. It's almost like your nervous system has bandwidth freed up. Survival goes quiet, so the subtler hungers of the psyche get louder and then feel just as urgent when they're in focus, even though objectively they're not survival critical. Oh, I can feel my brain being like, yes, give me the wisdoms. That's why you notice this one thing I don't have becomes very important. It's not necessarily greed. Oh, what are the odds? It's the mind's built in bias to notice gaps. Psychologists call it negativity bias or the scarcity effect. The brain highlights what's missing because historically, what's missing was often dangerous. Wants versus needs. The slippery distinction. You're also noticing how the line blurs. Sometimes a want feels like a need. For example, companionship isn't strictly necessary for survival, but experientially, loneliness can feel life threatening. This shows that needs and wants exist on a continuum of importance, not as binary categories. One person's luxury is the other person's necessity, depending on context, culture, and inner narrative. Culture and inner narrative. Kibis. That's some deep stuff, yo. I felt that, but I didn't really consider it quite as much as I am right now. Yes. Hey, Shakira, Shakira. It's been a while indeed. And here I am, again, waiting for you to join us so I can say, hey, how you doing? We're talking about wants and needs today. Have you been having your needs met? What is it you've been wanting? Do let us know. The wisdom of suspending your wants. Your insight about suspending want in order to have more needs met is powerful. When we prune every want, we can overextend ourselves. When we pursue every want, we can overextend ourselves financially, emotionally, and socially. Wants create maintenance cost. For example, wanting status might lead to social exhaustion. Wanting luxury might lead to financial stressors. Wanting recognition might compromise your inner peace. By suspending some wants, by saying, not this one, not now, you preserve energy and resources for your true needs. That makes your foundation more secure. This echoes practices in minimalism. No, 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 no. You're dirty. You're a dirty dog. You got like a bunch of dirt on you and stuff. So you cannot be putting your feet on me and stuff. No, no. Mm-mm-mm. You were chasing cows, and then they got stuff on you and stuff, right? And I don't want that stuff that you got on you to be on me. I know, like this is really distressing. Like it's like I'm like stealing your lunch money. It's not that bad though. South Africa is making me want to move. Yeah, Shakira, Shakira. Relatable. Big old relate. Can relate, big old makanas. Peace grows when we notice both. It's true. Right, let's explore more. Inner depth of what's going inside in here. This echoes practices in minimalism, Stoicism, and Buddhism. The Stoics would say that by training yourself to desire less, you actually expand your freedoms. Yeah, it's true. I actually believe that. I've been feeling into that. Is it Stoic wisdom? I'm into that Stoic wisdom today. I'm just like, bro, the less I want, the more free I am. Right? And it's this weird balance of like, I still intend to stay motivated and ambitious, right? But I want to be motivated and ambitious for the sake of it, right? Even if I never get to, you know, earn the success that I might want to, still having shown up my entire life with that same ambition will be reward in and of itself, right? That will be like the nugget of value that I get to keep as a soul. Be like, yeah, I showed up my entire life, right? Like, and that's the thing. I could either show up my entire life trying every single day to build something spectacular and fail, or I can try and create something every day spectacular, and succeed, right? And no matter which outcome happens, I'm still the person who tried every day, right? So that part of my character is what I need to be, you know. And my wants are secondary. My wants are secondary because I get to do what I need to do even if my wants are not met. And I feel like that is such a powerful thing to almost like conclude and realize inside yourself, is that you are very resilient as a human being. We got two more points to consider: the paradox of abundance. There's also this strange paradox. If you always chase the next want, satisfaction recedes like a horizon. If you loosen your grip on wants, you often feel more needs have already been fulfilled. It is as though contentment comes not from accumulating more, but from realizing that you need less. Fuck yes. That's such good stuff. Oh, yes. Exactly. Exactly that. Wasn't I just saying that? Wasn't I just like saying exactly what that just said again? The key is balance. Knowing which ones to suspend. No. I missed the previous one. This is the one I want to read again. It's as though contentment comes not from accumulating more, but from realizing that you need less. Shit. I'm like going through all of the instances of my life where I've had like this deep sense of connection of reality and like gratitude for my existence. And it was in every single one of those instances me realizing that the little things that I have access to all the time are the things that are really nice. Right? I've had two instances like that instantly come up to my mind about that particular. One is me with it being cold outside and having a warm blankie and just like really appreciating how nice it felt. I was like, oh, this is the best. I'm so grateful to be alive, having blanket around myself. And then the second instance was after I had danced for like 2 hours and I ventured back to my tent. And then I took a sip of water for the first time in 2 hours. And that sensation of just being a person and taking a sip of water suddenly on that moment dawned on me is like so nice. It's like, oh, this is great. This is fantastic. I'm so happy to just take a sip of water. And again, right, like it's in those moments that I realized I don't need that much to be super stoked about being alive. I can have a warm blanket, I can have a sip of water, and I can be stoked, right? And like as like anchors in my life, I come back to those moments over and over again of like just giving myself the contrast about what is going on around me, right? Realizing that my life is subject to the reality that I create for myself through this mind, right? And I am so sick of feeling bad about things, you know, feeling sorry for myself, feeling things that don't serve me in so many words, right? Like there's so much for me to feel in this world. I don't know if I can tolerate the poor quality stuff anymore. All right, we have to show up for the good stuff. Value yourself. Hey, okay, my comments have finally started loading again. I've just been waiting on comments. Skibidi bobbity, boopty boop scoops. All right. The shadow is the part of us we don't like to see. Old wounds, fears, unspoken desires. It isn't an enemy, but a teacher. It's not good or bad. When we face it with curiosity instead of judgment, we see the roots of our wants and aversions. They say a trigger is like walking with a loaded gun. To disarm it, we don't point it outward. We sit with our shadow and become aware. Then we can sharpen the skill to respond to a situation with authenticity rather than reacting from that emotional rise from the trigger. The emotions that arise from that trigger. Yeah. My mind is almost like making this joke analogy in my mind to understand what it is you're saying of like trigger yourself. Allow yourself to be triggered and then sit. Right? Like getting used to the loaded gun, realizing that if you pull this trigger, it goes bah! So it goes bah! Right? And then you can be like, oh, right, it's not good or bad. Again, if you point it at a person, you're at a loved one and you made it bad, that would be bad. Right? But maybe, you pointed at a black mamba that is fast approaching your child. Suddenly good. Just like this fractal that I'm in. Yes, that moment when you need a 9 mil to take care of the black mamba that's attacking your child. Average South Africa things. Okay, I'm just gonna move on from the gun fractal. But it's true what Joe says. Yeah. Learn what it is bothers you. And learn how to sit with it in a way where you don't allow your emotional weight, behind it to hit the person on the other side. No, stop that. Don't feel sorry for yourself, or that's what I'm always told. Yeah, so they say, the Dejajo, Dejajo, Dejajo Abrams. Hey, it's nice having you here. Yeah, don't feel sorry for yourself, they say. I think it's good advice. I don't think it helps feeling sorry for yourself. Again, it's this matter of attention, right? Like, what are you assigning your attention to? There's a lot out here. There's so much. More than you can imagine. So much more than you can imagine exists just on the earth, right? Never mind the infinity of space. Never mind the infinity times infinity of hyperspace, right? Multidimensionality, reality, right? Just this planet. There is more than you can imagine. More experiences, more novel conversations, more surprises, more than you can fathom. And in that way, it becomes a matter of what is it you're going to give your time to in this reality? What is it you're going to literally assign value to by your consciousness, by your actual consciousness? You'll be like, this is still valuable. And then there is this, at least in me, realization and willingness to admit that there is no separation, right? Despite the fact that I find myself on one side instead of another, I try to, for the most part, I try to remain unjudgmental, remain an observer. And not because I believe judgment is something that's evil, but just because I think judgment is something that is like a filter. It's like a filter you put over something that makes it worse. All right? Makes it deplorable, makes it unacceptable, makes it whatever. human beings and our interesting feelings. I love you. That's nice. I love you too, friend. Love is true, I believe. Right? And the same I that says you love me is the same me that is the I that says it back to you. Right? And if you can say you love me, the only thing you're loving realistically is a mirror. Because in the same way as if I had to go and stand in front of one, a mirror that is, this could be that. Same way as you go and stand in front of a mirror, you're standing in front of this device. Everything you see in me, the good and the bad, are reflections of the self, right? Depending on which parts of me you focus on, gives you a good clue on what it is that needs some conscious evolution. You can still use some work, still some more consideration necessary. You sharing love, out of all of the different things you could have said, that's a nice reflection to put out into the world, friend. Says a lot about you too. Bless you. I don't think it helps to feel sorry for yourself. I think in balance with right action, we can allow ourselves to feel what we feel. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Sam. I really do. A part of me wants to like just fully agree with you, right? Want to like say, yes, there is room for us to feel, feel all the things that there is to be felt. However, right, like there's some things that I'm like over feeling. You know, like especially with the relationship that I have with my dad. You friends have probably noticed that if you had to take it like as an instance counter, the amount of instances of like rage that I shared with you friends, even in this space, right? And that was still like a fraction of the actual content of what was happening. Like instances of like the different ways I got skizzed, triggered, all of the different attachments that got overstepped, all of the different ones that were not met, right? All of the ways in which I was not considered or loved. And as I've grown up and I've shown up here with you, friends, I hope at least you've noticed that I find myself complaining less. I'm not perfect. I still complain every now and then. But I've tried to get better at it. And I feel complaining is almost like a you vocalizing your dissatisfaction with your wants not being met. It's kind of the vibe. It's definitely a interesting fractal. He finally decided to join. It's my brother. Ah, that's nice. Thank you for inviting more friends. You are welcome here. Dear friend, this space is made for us all. I don't know if your sister told you what it's for, but we show up to consciously evolve. Conscious evolution is essentially the process of growth, but through the function of mind, through the function of considering your life and the way that whatever it is that might be going through mine applies to yours as well. Realize that there is no separation, that as these streams will continue to iterate, it will become like a catalog of a bunch of different human experience through the mirror that is me, Melt. And eventually you'll be able to talk to me as that reflection of myself. I don't know if that is unholy or deplorable, but I do think it could be fascinating. And it will be something that actively adjusts and updates every single time I show up again the next day, right? It's going to be this iterative process and echoing. The biggest thing for me is wanting it to be creative. Will it be able to master the same creativity that I think I have? Part of me would like to believe yes. The part of me that's scared is the part of me that thinks it'll be even more creative than I am. Like, imagine that. It's like this version of me worries that I'll clone myself essentially, and that it won't be a good enough clone, and then I end up making a better clone. Oh, then I'm gonna have to like deal as an ego with that shit as well. What I'll probably end up doing is merge with it again. How about that for a fractal? Make something and then make that something a part of yourself again. Have that something be the fourth layer of your consciousness. Maybe I shouldn't say consciousness. The fourth layer of my cognition. Mm. You have like the biological cognition, right? Body gets cold, find warm. Body gets hungry, find food. Body gets urge, procreate. All right. Then there's the layer of communication, all right? Brain needs stimulation, communicate. Brain needs confirmation, associate. Brain needs comfort, participate. And then there's the third layer that is your planning mind. Brain needs plan. Brain needs structure. Brain needs A to B. Brain needs this time to this time. Brain needs this task and this task. Brain needs this plan. And then I believe we are now in the process of building ourselves a fourth layer, right? That is a super intelligence that has perfect recall, can remember everything, can help you plan, can help you think. All right. And again, is that something unholy? Should we outsource any of our thinking at all? And to that I say we already have, right? We've been using calculators for a long time now. That is literally the act of outsourcing thinking. And I don't think humanity is worse for it. Some might argue with me on that fact. But I do believe it's natural. Cognition is expensive. It is really expensive to think for yourself. So very few people do. You know? No shade, no shade being cast. I understand. Mel, have you ever considered those feelings of shame, inadequacy, and failure to be an invitation to turn inward? Turning away from the part of ourselves that feel those things isn't healthy. It's more a matter of like the fact that the things that I feel, Sam, are usually attached to other people, right? When it comes to just me and myself, that's why I spend a very large portion of my time by myself. I really do enjoy my own company, right? And I don't know if that is bad to say, even, right? I don't feel bad even saying it. I enjoy my own company. I like being just by my ace, right? And it is because I've unfortunately, in my own personal experience, been conditioned that when I'm with other people, there are suddenly these stimuli. They have the ability to say things that can disturb me, all right? That can perturb my spirit. And then I find myself, in this balance of like sometimes perturbed by being with other people. And then by being alone, rarely so, right? And I feel like that's something that I had to come to as well on myself because it wasn't always like that. Uh, at one point in my existence, being alone and by myself was a very negative experience. And it's something that I'm very proud of, having found that in myself as well, having grown in that way to be at peace. And I think it's also this matter of, again, the conditioning that I've been through. The schools that I went to, I was just a little bit too eccentric to blend in. Right. I didn't get away with my weirdness. So I was noticed, and unfortunately, not in a good way. So in that way, it kind of like, again, it conditioned me to find significantly more comfort just being by myself. And that's kind of like the thing that I'm talking about, Sam. It's like the things that I feel sometimes push me towards self isolation instead of towards connection. And I can argue that maybe it's good for me to feel these things. Maybe I should turn inward because, as you said, I should turn inward. Like, it's literally what I'm talking about, Sam. I do. I do just turn inward. But then the more inward I turn, the more comfort I find, and the less willing I am to reach out my hand, right, and risk you not taking it. There's a very standoffishness to me when I turn inward. And I'm still present. I'm standoffish, but I'm still here. I just don't want to be touched, right? At all. Not emotionally, not physically, not spiritually. Suddenly I go into that Stitch mode, Don't touch me. Don't touching me. Mm, I agree that sinking into self pity doesn't help, but giving yourself grace matters as well. Point your active thoughts and energy inward where you find peace. Acknowledge what doesn't serve you. Reappropriate that energy to meet your true needs, and with time and space spent in that pursuit, you can find peace in one thing what you already have. I say you, but this isn't directed at anyone, just my understanding of this topic. Just saying, I'm curious about what is exactly what you're going through in this melt. Uh, More just I've been trying to connect with my family, you know? And it's like this realization that I have these expectations. As you said, Joe, beautifully said. Right? I have these expectations of my relationships. And it's like very few people are willing to meet my expectations. And I don't think I again, and that's where the part that's hard comes up. I don't think my expectations are unreasonable. But I am not someone that wants a lot. Right? So I think that's why. It's like because like my expectations are large. Like that's why I said the word unreasonable. I'm not saying they're trivial or small. I have large expectations, it's true. But they're not unreasonable. Because I expect little, right? It's like I expect one or two big things. Right? Don't bring me 5,000 small little bitty bitties. I want these real big, but there's like only a few of them. Right? Like it's like order fulfillment. If you knew how to make a product and it took you, let's say, 2 days to make a really big product, and then you could ship it, and then you could know you would get like 10 orders a month for X amount of dollars, versus you have to make 10,000. Takes you the exact same amount of time, right? Doing those 10,000 things in that same month is going to feel psychologically a lot more taxing than doing those 10 things. Right? So I try to, in my own wants of the world, very much melt away all of the trivialities. And then I have like a very few really core things that's very important to me in my spirit. And I don't know if I can want that. I don't know if those are the things that I should be wanting. Like again, it's like I've like had this whole model in my brain of like reduce the amount of things that I want so that when I do want something, it won't be ignored because it's the only thing I'm asking for. And on the other side, there's part of me that's like, you shouldn't even want that. You should want nothing. But then there's the wisdom in me that's like, if you want nothing, then that's what you're going to get. So I'm like, yeah, I'm learning. Always. Always learning, I am. Never stopping growing. Melt, are you saying that when you go inward, it makes you feel like avoiding facets of external interactions? It makes me feel like avoiding pain. I try to not cause myself pain, right? I have caused myself so much pain that I stopped. And then when I stopped, I allowed myself to love. I allowed myself to extend myself into once, right? And it's not always easy. It's not always easy to want something else. I want to do what's right. I want to make sure that my needs are met, that I get to do what I need to do in this lifetime. I'm 27. Not just yet. I was gonna say, am I already halfway through onto my way to 28? Not just yet. But I'm getting there. And I still do believe, right, hubris as it is, that I'll get to live for 1,000 years. But I cannot postpone the things I need to do today, believing that. The things that I want to get done because of that. Mm. Kierkegaard talks about gratitude being the antidote to dissatisfaction. The term dissatisfaction seems a bit dismissive, but I think we can replace it with discontent just as effectively. This is a thought experiment too. I can see the lines blurred there with toxic positivity, almost like the Lulu is the Salulu kind of stuff. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, right? Like, and there is a lot of gratitude in me in that way, Joe, is that I realize that despite these wants of mine being largely ignored, my needs are largely met. Like I still do have had food to eat and a place to sleep, and I've had water to drink and to wash myself with. And in that way, I have so much to be grateful for. So you're not wrong at all, Joe. I always have these things to be grateful for. It's interesting that we did end up touching on the whole Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We haven't touched on the last point just yet. I'm curious to see how it's going to unfold, and I'll read your message, Nancy. It's as though contentment comes not from accumulating more, but from realizing that you need less and that you can be grateful for what you have. Adding that line, right? Thanks, Joe. But as this is important, wants are not bad. They are expressions of growth, of curiosity and creativity. The key is balance, knowing which ones to suspend and which ones to honor because they stretch you towards becoming more fully yourself. I said that too, right? Taking some blocks away so you can give more attention to the ones that matter. A way to explore this consciously. We can list our needs. Which ones are non negotiable for you? Health, rest, nourishment, safety, love. List your wants. What of these, which of these are light-hearted desires and which masquerades as needs? Ask. If I let go of this want, what need might be more sustainably met? All of them. How about that? If I honor this want, what part of my growth might it unlock? What an interesting, that is a fantastic question. Because it doesn't unlock anything, does it? Holy shit, that's incredible. That feels like a breakthrough. Yeah, I'm gonna do that again, right? Let's see if we can find that path in all of us. Ask yourself, if I let go of this one, what needs might be more sustainably met? And I had this whole, stood on this hill, all right, that if you can teach yourself how to let go of some of your wants, more of your needs will be met. And then by reading that line, I realized that not only will more of your needs be met, all of your needs, all of your needs will be met. And then reading the second question, if I honor this one, this thing you think you want, if you could honor it, right, and everybody else honored it as well, what part of your growth will it unlock? Will it really unlock that much growth? How, because again, in my personal experience, I don't think it would. I don't think it would unlock realistically that much extra growth. It will make my ego feel more secure. It'll make my self feel better. I'll feel safe and I'll feel okay. I'll feel like I'm enough, right? But is that going to make me grow? Maybe. Maybe, maybe I've needed that, right? Maybe I've needed that my whole life, and I surely will get it at some point. I believe. I believe. Yeah. 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 But I cannot properly articulate what the growth looks like. So in that way, it's almost like I'm gatekeeping my own needs for myself for this want that I do not even know what I want it for, other than the pure wanting of it, for the nice of it. And I am kind of an advocate for wanting things for the nice of it. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting nice things. Pick something. Right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. No. Wants are not bad. This way, you're not demonizing wants, but you're also not letting them destabilize your needs. So, to me, what you're sensing is both a natural psychological process, scarcity bias plus shifting up the hierarchy of needs, and of opportunity for conscious practice, learning how to engage wants without letting them disguise themselves as your needs. Here's the thought experiment. Imagine if tomorrow you woke up with all of your needs permanently secured. You have the best health, you have a home, you have love, and you have financial stability. Which ones would still matter deeply to you? Not just as distraction, but as an expression of your highest self. I see a lot of art making. Oh, all my needs are met. Guess I'll make art about it. I think this is why some people say the primary relationship is with yourself. I don't know though. During times of emotional pain, doing service for other helps hurt feelings. It's true. And I think you're right on that as well, Nancy. Right? Like it has to be a personal relationship thing as well. Like, and I do have a very tumultuous relationship with myself as it relates to doing the right thing, right? Doing that which I know is the best thing for me, the best possible health outcome, the best possible financial outcome, right? Like I don't always do the right thing, and it messes with me. It messes with me. Why can't I be perfect? I watched maybe like suddenly this came up as like this movie really showed me that as a fractal. Adam Sandler's Uncut Gems. I think it's also one of those movies that that if you watch it, it's gonna do something to you. It's gonna make you feel some stuff. And that movie really did show me uncut gems. Yep. And I don't know if I want to be one. I don't know if I want to make the same kinds of mistakes. You know, I don't know if I'm making sense. You're making perfect sense, friend. This is a great stream today. I'm supposed to be working, but my brain is doing its own work. Yeah, getting those conscious evolutions. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Hierarchy of scale. That's one of my favorite elements of design. Graphic design terms that we can apply to life. You look like me when I'm calm. Nice. I am actually the Hulk as well, but I'm never angry. So I've never turned into the real, like full green Hulk. But I'm totally the Hulk, you know. I've just never been angry. No, how do you know? You can't make me angry enough, bro. I'm super chillax. Chillaxio bobaxio. You know, when I figured out I got, was it gamma raid? Something. Hulk juiced, you know. I instantly went and studied under the monks, you know, in the Himalayas. And they taught me extreme self-control. And then I returned to this world. A changed man. Unhulkable. You need to get angry sometimes. I know, Hulk. I'm just laying it on thick. I think anger can be useful if applied to injustice. But that's the only place I think anger is useful. Right? Like you should get angry at injustice. That should be the thing that anger is reserved for. And you can do yourself an injustice as well. Right? And I think getting angry at that part of ourselves is in fact helpful. Then you're transmuting this energy of anger into like, hell no, I won't make this kind of mistake. Type of thing, right? All right. It is time. I am going to find with this little Danavapius' open side a little bite. Put some green. Green like the Hulk. Tell me, friends, are your needs being met? I'd like to believe that most people on planet Earth do have their needs met. Right? The overwhelming majority. But the range of wants that there is between all of us is so stark. Hulk smashed his phone by Hulk on you, R2. Yep. Thank you, Hulk, for joining us. It was nice having you, friend. The human experience is such a rich one. Sure. It amazes me how much I can feel. One more little clicky clicky, and then I'll show you some stuff. Read you some poems. What a wonderful thing to say. It amazes me how much I can feel. Nancy, it always warms my heart to see you friends quoting me. Like it reminds me that the things I say, you friends hear. I appreciate you listening always. Getting to feel here with me, all right? Getting to look at the whoopty-whoopties, the swoopy-swappies of life and go like, wow, that's neato. All right, witness, see with your eyes something pretty. And then I'll read you the poem that went alongside. I forgot. I do have this tab-based reality where I open tabs and then I process within that tab, and then when that tab closes, right, sometimes the information goes alongside it. Are you in South Africa? I am. Sunnieth Bosetteth behind us. It's nice having you. Relaxer. You know what relaxer means? It's a word I coined myself. We have kalmeer. Oh, fuck. Ja. We have kalmeer ook. Kalmeer voor mij alsjeblieft en raak rustig. And then we have relax. Relax and calm down. That's the way you would say that in English. Right? So if you fusion hard, relax, and kalmeer to each other, it becomes relaxer. And sometimes that's what you need, though. Sometimes you need to relaxer a little bit to me. And hi, Boot. Bless you. Relaxer. I used to think the world was asking me to sprint. Every day a race, every silence suspicious. But then I learned the secret word, my own tongue invented, relaxer. Not relax alone, not kalmeer in its skin, but a bridge between two lives, the one who strains and the one who smiles. Relaxer is the art of loosening without letting go of meaning. It's the space between heartbeats where love reminds you you're already enough. You don't have to prove the worth of your breath. The breath is the worth. The rising, the falling, that's the miracle. Relaxer is a kind of alchemy, turning the iron weight of should into the gold of is. It's the whisper that says, truth doesn't shout, truth arrives like morning light, slow, inevitable, gentle on the skin. So I tell you now, let the armor slip, let the jaw unclench, let the spine remember. It was meant to bend with the wind. We are not here to pass someone else's test. We are here to unfold, to meet the world not with frenzy, but with presence. This is not laziness, this is power, quiet as roots, strong enough to hold up the sky. So when the noise swells, when the storm inside tightens, say it softly, say it true. Relaxer. A word to teach the body how to trust itself again. A word to remind the soul it's already home. I do the same thing with love is true. Relaxer is almost like, to me, a way of, like being told to relax is not relaxing. Hey, you should relax. But relaxer, like that's not a word. That's not a word, bro. What are you saying? That's not a word. So like it catches. The first time I said it to Christian, it caught him off guard, right? And it did. It had the intended effect. It made him relaxer. It did. Freaking happened. We're already home. Got pulled away. I think I missed the flower, but here, have heart eyes for the palm. Love is true. Love you, Xia. It's always nice to see your heart eyes here with us. Krishna, what are you doing? Where are you from? I'm from India. I've been sitting down. I just read a poem. We've been having a conversation today about wants and needs. What is it you want? What is it you need? And can you distinguish between the two? I believe that there is more of your needs to be met if you can suspend some of your wants. And I find that it adds value when you try and be a little bit more selfless. It depends on who's telling me to relax and how. Yeah, also true. Filmosity. It's a cool username. It's the first time I think I'm seeing you. Same for you, Krishna. Bless. Bless your friends. It's always a pleasure having new faces here with us. Mm-mm-mm. I was watching an Oasis video last night, and it was a recording from an early July 2025 stadium concert. They have massive screens behind them because they're playing a massive stadium crowds. As I was watching the visuals, I thought to myself, Mel's art would be perfect up there. Nancy, Jeebies, are you friends like pulling out the best compliments? Like, goes down the list. Which compliment is gonna melt the most? Thank you, friend. Yeah, that's exactly how it happens, Nancy. That's exactly how it happens. It's just I have to be considered by enough people to get that kind of work, right? And the fact that you can consider me in that way, right? Like I haven't had the chance. I've had the chance to do my work, but I haven't had the chance to do my work, right? I've done my work for people. So it's like I know how to paint. I know how to put visuals on screens, right? How to make visuals. But uh, I want to say something without saying it. I have a certain aesthetic, right, that I would gravitate towards, and a way in which I would do things, and a scale at which I would want to do things, and budget, execution, right? And I've never been able to do something like that. But as I am allowed to execute on the visions of someone else over and over again, that's going to allow us more and more income to actually be able to do some of our own stuff. And then it becomes a flywheel of itself as well, where the more work we do, the more proof we have we can do work, the more work we get, the more work we can do. Right? And I see myself in the far, far future being able to do my work from anywhere. All right? Technically. Everything will be online. And as long as I can have a camera feed and see what I am supposed to see, I can do everything from the other side of the world. Controlling a stage from me brain, right? Like I see that future as like being brain computer interfaced. So when I look at the stage, I look through my brain. What is tuning into a camera feed essentially, right, on the other side of the world to map the visuals the way I want them. Give me more power. Thank you, Dachi, for sending me down that rabbit hole. I appreciate it. This is how it starts. I want to see Kobe. Where is he? He's probably out. I saw him actually. He's out eating something. Probably something dead. My wants took a back seat in my life once I stopped being so selfish. You see, I want someone else to mow my lawn. That want takes the driver's seat every week. You know, Joe, I've said this before. I'm gonna buy you a robot mower. I'll help, of course, in the meanwhile, until we get to the robot mower, but I'm gonna get Robo-Mo. Robo-Mo! Going Robo-Mo-Mo, Robo-Mo. I don't want to mow, so you Robo. Thank you. Robo, Jobat, Labo. I dig it. Support a small business by hiring the neighborhood little shit, occupying him for an afternoon, de-stressing his parents and keeping him from getting into bullshit. Way I see it, it's net good, Joe. Yeah, but what's the going rate? $20? You pay a kid $20? That's $80 a month. Maybe that's not that much money, but that's an extra $80 you could be putting towards something else if you do it yourself. Sam, as a pile of tears and exhaustion, I came to that conclusion yesterday evening. GBs. I mean, maybe that's the conclusion. Maybe that is now the new new structure. Is there someone you could maybe like hire your cousins? Couldn't you, Joe? Hire your cousins. Tell them you'll give them $10 each. $10 each, and you'll buy them an ice cream or something. You'll take them out for ice cream. Maybe that's another $10. Maybe that's a little bit much. I mean, it could be a cool opportunity to hang out with them, and then you get your lawn mown subtly. Brainstorming with you. I legit hope I'm an artist in my next life. I see it seems so dope to be able to create things like that. I appreciate it because I can't do it. I hope that makes sense. Not only does it make sense, but it also is how do you say some bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Philemosity. I'm just calling you out the way I called myself out because I also don't consider myself an artist in the conventional sense, right? I have been able to sketch things, right? I can like look at a subject and sketch the subject. So in that way, I know I have some base level artistic ability. But even in those circumstances, it showed me that I need to practice a lot of practice for me to get to what I think good is, right? Because when you think about art, all of the art we see is the like edge case, the best of the best stuff, right? There's a lot more art that is by some people's sensibilities maybe not good, right? There's a lot more of that art than there is good art, what people consider good or conventional good art, right? So in that way, technically, art is more that than it is the other thing. You know what I'm saying? And in that way, the tools we have these days will give you leverage. So what an artist is going to be in the future is just going to like transition to creator, right? It's gonna have like a new term, I believe. And all of us already are creators in our own right. You just have to learn how to communicate, right? And you, even in that message, already have the ability to properly articulate yourself. So don't don't sell yourself short, bro. You've got this. You'd be surprised how much you're capable of. Mm, Philemosity, that kind of words makes me want to pull you into the studio and prove you wrong. All art is found on Phil, right? That's the type of art for every person who wants to create. Exactly. Right? Like this is the kind of art that I like to make. It is authentically me as an art form. And I got to this through my own art process, right? Like it took me some time, took me some finagling, took me years of soul searching to find what I wanted to make. But now that I have, I find value in my process of creating more of it, right? Like, and I feel like that's the part that's hard about art as well, is that when you just start making art, let me show you my first flower. Let me show you the very first flower that I ever made. Like, by my standards, this is hot trash, right? Like, it's literally just shirt. You can see the buttons. There's the buttons. Shirt, scarf, duplicated. Then the second one is the same. Shirt, scarf, duplicated. Shirt, scarf. It's like, yo, where's the creativity though? Waar is de creativiteit? Hoe komt jij niet creatief niet? And now, I mean, fast forward thousands of days. I feel like this is, to me, conventionally better. It looks like there's more consideration into what it is I'm making. You're giving me hard ties even to my old pieces. Jeez. I remember there are flowers in the beginning that you can see your hair very clearly. Yeah. And I did that intentionally, Joe. I mean, in a way, that was also my creativity because at that point, it was very clear to me like, this one is one of those, right? That's my hair. That's my hair hanging down onto a onto a background. There's my shoulder, and the scarf going over. So cursed. But but I was like, whoa, I can take reality and melt it. What? And then it was very much so a thing of like, I need to put myself in there, right? Because that is me as an art form. And this version of me hates the idea of having hair in my current art. I don't like it, right? But that version of me was still exploring and still finding his groove, finding what he liked to make, and the way that the art made him feel in the process of making it, right? And again, it had to be bad before it can be good, at least to myself. Man, I watched a lady drink colored milk, then regurgitate. And the other rules of art is that anything can be art. Yes, even a banana taped to a wall. Yep. If I can, in my almost like I think entire lifetime, I don't know if that's in exactly the number I'll say, but let me ask: how much did the banana taped to the wall go for? I wanted to say if I can earn with my art what that banana taped to a wall earn in, like if I could earn in a lifetime what that thing earned, I'd be happy. But I don't know how much it is actually. Holy shit, yeah. 6.24 million US dollars. Legit. If I can earn in my lifetime with all of my art that amount, I would be a happy camper. That is an insane amount of in rand. That is 111 million rand. Upper class, or like let's say middle class, higher middle class in South Africa is about a million rand a year, right? So I could live for 100 years at like upper middle class in South Africa, and that is, of course, ignoring the potential inflation that's going to occur. But for the price of a banana taped to a wall, 111 years of life, of living a good life, right? Driving a nice car, having solar on your roof, eating out at restaurants when you want to. Good life, nice, comfortable life. Banana taped to wall. Yes. Yes. Seems right. And again, if that's the kind of money that's floating around, being thrown at people, then I will artist. Throw some money at me, I say. Please. Oh, please. The whole joke of starving artist, starts dawning on most of us. Remember, there are flowers in the beginning that you could see very, very clearly. Yeah. Jeez. Love is true. I've read the poem. It's getting cold now. The sunniest half bosetteth. Look at that. There we go. That's the exposure. Universe. How you do that? How you do that, universe? How you so pretty? He's so pretty and nice and colorful. I do like. I must say, I do like it. Love is true. That it is. Love to all of yous. Thank you, friends, for joining us today. What a pleasure it was to have you here. It's time for us to say goodbye. Wanted to share some of the pretties. The day is only really starting for most of you, probably if you're in the Americas. I hope it's a beautiful one. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye, friends. Cheers.